All right, you guys. So today we are going to get a look at the Revell Resistance A-wing Fighter. Very cool vehicle. I also got this in the 3 1/4 size from Hasbro, and we will compare it to the 3 1/4 size in just a moment. But first, we are going to get a look at this thing, open it up, put it together, and then we'll do our comparison. So getting a look at the box as we always do. As you can see, it is for 8 and up. We have our various different little pictures here of the vehicle, lights and sounds and whatnot there. We have the vehicle pictured in battle here. Across the top, we have our usual promotional photo here, snap type logo here at the bottom, and other information, logo, Disney, and other information. Getting a look at the side of the box, your normal promotional photo with the Revell logo. And then on the back of the box, we have all of our pieces there, as you can see. And we will get a look at all of those pieces out of the box, a look at the cockpit, a look at the back, and also a look at the top view of the vehicle. And then, of course, they are showing us what else is available in the line. And then if we go over to the other side of the box, we then again have that same promotional photo, and then back around to the front of the box. So there it is, guys. There's a look at the box. Let's pop this thing open and get a look at all of the various pieces on the inside, you guys. So we have all of our various pieces out of the box. As you can see, we have our cockpit here with the engine and everything as well. The engine's in the back, so very cool. Just to get you guys a quick look at it before we put all the pieces together. So there it is. So absolutely cool, and we're going to remove this, so we will be able to activate it, and we will get a look at lights and sounds once we get it all together. But just to get a look at the rest of the pieces, we do have our little figure on the inside, and I shouldn't even say little, because compared to the Kylo Ren that is in the TIE silencer, this guy is huge. And you know, one thing that I thought about is I wish I had enough time to paint this guy before I stick him on the inside. One thing I may do is once I put this together, I may take it back apart just so I can pull him out and put a nice little paint job on him. Maybe just put a paint a pilot's outfit on him, and do the helmet and visor and whatnot. So very cool. And if this is an item that you guys are thinking about picking up, you might want to consider the same before you put it together, putting a nice little paint job on that guy so he looks very cool on the inside. So there he is, getting a look at some of the other pieces there, guys. As you can see, I believe those are pieces of the wing and whatnot, pieces of the engines and various pieces there, guys. We have a couple of pieces for the cockpit, the top part of the cockpit there. So very, very cool stuff, guys. So let's get this thing put together. haven't got it all put together. I haven't put in the front windshield here, which would go right here, and I have not put in our little pilot here, just to get you guys a good look at the pilot, and I apologize for the glare. I haven't put him in just yet because I'm going to paint him and put him in there, and I will show you guys the finished product once I have him painted. But there he is, and so I'm going to wait before I insert him on the inside and before I put the front windshield on. Because I'm sure once that windshield gets in there, I don't want to have to remove it just to put him back in there. So I'm not going to put those two pieces on at the moment. There it is, guys. Very, very cool and easy build. Took me about 10 minutes to put this together. The only problem I would see with my pieces, that as you guys can see right there, that back piece doesn't fit quite too well, or it's not staying closed. As you can see, it's still open. There's our lights and sound. I really love the light, the yellow lighting of the engine. So very, very awesome, very cool, awesome looking vehicle, guys. So just so you can get a look. And then the landing gear is articulate, goes back, and the back two legs go front legs. So very cool. And looks absolutely awesome, guys. We're gonna get a look and listen to the lights and sounds. Very cool. So it looks like we do have 3 different sound effects there. Flight, weapons, and then a combination of flight and weapons, just as the silencer has as well. So very cool, guys. There. I do love it, and I can't wait to get this little guy painted and inserted on the inside. But there it is, guys. Very easy build. You can put this together. Someone better than me can put this together in about 5 minutes. A small child, maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. Again, you might want to consider painting this guy before you insert him. That's most definitely what I'm going to do. All right, you guys. So I have completed my paint job on the Revell model figure that comes with the Resistance A-wing model. As you can see, he or she is sitting there on top of the cockpit of the A-wing there. So I did my best to match it to the 3 1/4 size figure that comes with the Hasbro model. I couldn't quite match the green. As you can see, my green is more of a moss green there. But I tried to do the best that I could to match everything exactly. But I think it works for the model at least. So I'm pretty satisfied, especially for my first paint job on a figure like. And I'm gonna get you guys a closer look at it, guys. So let's get a closer look at the paint job on this thing. All right, guys. So to get you a closer look at the paint job that I put on this thing, so let's get a look at it, guys. And please excuse my fingers. I'm gonna do my best to keep my fingers out of the way. So, I was a bit limited with the colors that I had available. But I think it, as I mentioned, I think it turned out decent, especially for my first paint job there, guys. So, I tried to do my best to match it. The green is obviously off. I think the visor turned out well. I think the helmet turned out really, really well. And then, of course, I left the straps, they're regular white. There, as you can see, I did have some issues while painting it. If you can look at the top of the helmet there, guys, and I hope it's clear, but you can see that gray spot there that's on the helmet. There's some black paint that got there. I tried to cover it with the white. I'll probably hit it up again
with the white to see if I can cover it a bit better in there. But once this thing is on the inside, you won't even be able to notice that. But I probably will throw another coat of white on there just to cover that up. Obviously, the Revell symbol that you see there on her helmet is not perfectly painted. It's just a blotch, a gold blotch there. Same with the symbol on the side there, which is supposed to be the Revell symbol, and I'll show you on this figure there. As you can see, there is her Revell symbol. This would be the Revell symbol on this figure. Not quite as accurate, but you know, there it is, guys. It is what it is, guys. So we're gonna slide her into the cockpit here, and I hope I can get her legs in there. It's a bit difficult to do it this way because, you know, normally you would hold it in your hand, but I want to get it on camera as I get her in there. So let's see if I can do that. Still having an issue with the legs, but I think we're almost there. Almost there. Almost there. And I think our pilot is in the So we do need to slap on this front windshield here to complete our project. So let's go ahead. All right, you guys. So I got it all put together. Windshield is in place. Cockpit closed. Figure inside. Looking awesome. I'm very, very satisfied how everything turned out, especially with the paint job on this guy. Very, very cool. And I definitely suggest putting a paint job on the figure before completing the project. I think you'll be very happy if you do so. I'm very happy how this turned out, as opposed to just putting a single plain white figure on the inside. Now I have something with a little color to it, and looks really, really great. And I think it makes it pop off excellent. So very, very cool. Very, very happy with the results that I have here, guys. So guys, now we are ready for our comparison.
All right, guys. So after taking it home yesterday and painting the figure on the inside, as you guys saw there, I brought it back for our comparison video. So here we are. So we're going to get a look at both of these vehicles. Obviously, this is the Hasbro 3 1/4 size, and of course, our Revell vehicle is here as well. So obviously, first glance, first look at both vehicles. Both vehicles are very, very detailed, very, very nice. One of the biggest differences, and I'll give you guys a look at that right now. One of the biggest differences between the two is the Hasbro version gives you some scuff marks, a little bit of weathering, which is always nice. As our Star Wars collectors know, we like to have our stuff weathered a bit. You got the little burn there from the engines on either side there. So very, very cool on the detail side of things on the Hasbro side. Your Revell model is going to come absolutely clean, fresh out of the off the assembly line there. So there are there's no weathering, no scuff marks, but of course you can apply that on your own if you wish to do so. Getting to both of our figures, very, very nice. Your canopy opens for both figures there. So we're going to sit our Revell, our Resistance pilot up a bit, and this pilot, obviously you can't sit him up. He's propped in there, but there they both go. One thing that I wish I had done before I applied the paint to my custom figure in the Revell model is get some suggestions on how I can match that olive green on this figure. As you guys saw with the video there, the pilot for the Revell model has more of a moss green as opposed to the olive green that the actual Resistance pilot will be wearing in the Last Jedi movie. So you know, unfortunately I didn't think that far ahead to ask some questions when I did that, but this is my first custom paint job on something like this. So you live and learn as you progress through learning how to customize these things. To continue our comparison, now one of the major gripes I have, and I don't know if I mentioned this in my review of the Hasbro 3 1/4 vehicle here, the A-wing, but as you can see, the Revell model provides you with excellent landing gear, great placement for the landing gear, so it looks excellent while it is sitting down. Just so you guys can see there, it looks excellent while it is sitting on the landing pad or what have you. Obviously here there is no back landing gear on this vehicle. It just sits on its wings. From the front, doesn't look bad at all because the vehicle is sitting absolutely level, as if there were 2 legs in the back. From the side, not as great, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is, and that's what they gave you. So got to knock Hasbro for that one right there, though, man. We should have got 2 landing gears in the back of this thing, guys. That's not good right there. You could have made a place for the, and even with last year with the U-wing model versus the Hasbro model, both models had the proper landing gear, and the Hasbro model found a way to add the back landing gear by placing it underneath the 2 engines, where obviously that's not where the landing gear went. The landing gear was more centered on the body of the vehicle and not on the landing gear in the actual movie, and the Revell model actually depicted it correctly. And that's why I like to do these comparisons in regards to accuracy when it comes to the films. How accurate are these vehicles when it comes to the comparison in the films? And I can tell you in a lot of cases, Revell does a much better job in making sure that the vehicle is somewhat more accurate to how it is in the film as opposed to Hasbro. Sometimes Hasbro has to make do with some of the features that they're giving you in these vehicles, and sometimes that will compromise certain aspects of the vehicle. For instance, here, and as to why the landing gear is not here, is the Force Link device that is on the inside of the vehicle that's going to give us our sounds. And I do have a surprise for you guys, especially for you guys who have been with the channel for more than a month and a half or so. You know my story on the Force Link that I got with my BB-8 destroyer set, how it was not working properly, and I demonstrated that in my video with the irritating loud noise. And then I mentioned a few days ago in my review of the TIE silencer that I would not be purchasing an additional Force Link until I received my replacement link from Hasbro. Well, it seems that Hasbro is going to take their time getting that Force Link to me, and I just could not get through another comparison video without having a Force Link. So I broke down and I bought the $24 Force Link. Got me, Hasbro. But it's all good. So hopefully at some point I'll have 2 Force Links, Hasbro, once you give me my replacement. I'm not going to turn this into a Hasbro rant, but I'm not happy. So so I went and bought the additional Force Link. So we are going to get a good comparison of the lights and sounds between these 2 vehicles. Now, in addition to that, guys, I got an additional surprise for you here today. Now, as I had mentioned in my TIE silencer video, I wasn't able to do a proper comparison because I didn't have the Force Link to activate the sound on the silencer. Well, I brought it in today, and we are going to get some sound comparisons with the TIE silencer versus the Revell model TIE silencer right here. We're going to get that comparison, guys, not only with the 2 A-wings between the 2 manufacturers, but we are going to get the comparison, at least lights and sounds, with our TIE silencer between the 2 companies. So that is our additional treat here today on this video. So hopefully you've stuck around long enough to get this comparison video and get the lights and sounds that I promised you on that tie silencer. So we're gonna get that done here today. So if you caught my review of the A-wing, you did get this 360 view of it. So I just wanted to go back over it with you guys here, just so we can compare the detail on both vehicles. So getting a look at the detail on both vehicles. Now, obviously on the Revell model, they have neglected to give you some detail in the middle part between the two engines, but you can easily paint over that area and kind of bring it a little bit closer to the 3 1/4 model. And then also on the back of the cockpit there, as you can see, the Hasbro model is giving you some great detail there as well. Again, the Revell model has neglected to give you that particular detail there, but again, you can easily change that with the little gray paint if you want to bring your Revell model up to some accuracy, and plus have some fun customizing it as well. I had a lot of fun customizing the figure, and I probably will improve those areas on this model to match the Hasbro model. I think the Hasbro model is going to be definitely more accurate in those areas. I think that is going to be accurate for the A-wing. So I think it'll be safe to go ahead and upgrade it there on the Revell model. So I will go ahead and do so there. Now, the other thing here on the front of both of these vehicles, as you can see, the design on the both vehicles for the Hasbro model, it goes all the way underneath and across both wings underneath, where Revell again kind of neglected to give that to you, unfortunately, Revell. But again, you could have a lot of fun customizing it to your liking and kind of matching it to the Hasbro model. So you're not only are you going to get a lot of usage and play out of this vehicle, but you're going to be able to make it your own by adding the additional details that unfortunately Revell neglected to give you. But the whole fun of putting a model together and customizing it, that's the whole fun of getting it, as opposed to just purchasing the vehicle as is. In the way that Hasbro gives it to you, even though you can customize this one as well. This vehicle could still use a little bit of weathering on it, just to give it that dirt and grime, and I'll probably get to that as well at some point on both of these vehicles to weather them up. But you know, it is what it is at this point. So very cool detail on both vehicles. Obviously, there are some slight differences in regards to those details. The other detail that's missing is, as you can see on the Hasbro model, they're giving you the paint job at the bottom. They're not giving that to you here. And then of course you see there's additional paint apps there on the engine that are missing there. So just some subtle differences between the two models. I think between the two you are getting some movie accuracies between the two, but I think obviously they are both not fully movie accurate on their own. I do believe that again that the back part of this one is more accurate than this. Obviously the 3 legs on this particular vehicle is more accurate than on this particular vehicle, and I believe the paint apps on this vehicle are obviously more accurate than they are on the Revell model as it comes out of the box. But of course you can always customize those items, as I mentioned, with the Revell model, and that's what makes it so great. So guys, let's get to the lights and sounds on these vehicles. I've talked. All right guys, so we have our force link. We are lit up and ready to go. We have no irritating blaring noise like we did the first time around. So hopefully we can get some lights and sounds with our vehicle here. So let's see what kind of sounds. We've already heard from this one a little bit, so let's see what this one can give us.
Reporting in, squadron leader. Here they come.
Very cool.
Protect the bombers.
Very cool.
Watch your back. Let's do some damage. Protect the bombers. Here they come.
So very cool. Very cool.
Reporting in, Squadron Leader.
So very cool. Now, what obviously was happening right there is because I have the figure on the inside, I can actually activate her as well as some of the sounds in the vehicle, not at the same time, but depending on where I tap it at. So if I go directly underneath her cockpit,
Reporting in, Squadron Leader.
I'm gonna get her. So, and then those are her blaster sounds. Now for the vehicle itself, if I go to the engine, weapons, flight sound, which is very cool. But the one of the things that unfortunately on this particular vehicle that they don't give you is the lights. You would like to have these lit up like they do on this one. You would like to get that on this vehicle, but unfortunately they don't offer you it. But you know, they do give you plenty of sounds and lights and stuff. So very, very cool. And then of course, if I wave it around, I'm gonna get blaster fire. So you're getting quite a bit between the figure and the vehicle itself with your Hasbro, which is good for the price point. You should get that much and get that and more. Well, I shouldn't say more, but you should get that at the very least. Now, and by the way, that's our Kylo figure that comes with the Force Link right there, if you guys want to wear. Now, of course, as we saw with this one, you get your, with the lights. So very cool. I think you're doing very well with either vehicle, just to what your price point is going to be between the two vehicles. But you know, those are the two differences between your vehicles there. I think you're doing really well depending on what your price point is, where you are in your budget. If you're looking for something a little bit cheaper for 19 bucks, where you're going to get lights and sounds, and then of course you can also get a little creative with it as well by coloring or painting your figure on the inside, and as well as adding some of the other additional details that Revell did not add for you. Then you might be in the market for this particular one. And then of course this one at a price point that I believe is somewhere around 25 to 30 bucks. You know, obviously you could still customize it as you wish to do so. It is going to give you a bit more details in regards to weathering on it. You are going to get some sounds from it. You're not going to get lights, unfortunately. But I think it's again, it's depending upon your preference and your price point where you will be satisfied with either one of these vehicles. So I do enjoy both. I think both are absolutely awesome. I will say I probably would get more use out of this one because it's smaller, fits on the shelf. It just doesn't take as much space as the 3 1/4 size vehicles do. So there it is with the sounds and lights comparison. Unfortunately, this vehicle falls short on the lights part, but I think with the sounds you're doing very well. And then of course with the figure added into the vehicle, you can simultaneously get sounds from the actor and certain lines from the movie, as well as vehicle sounds. So very, very cool right there with the Force Link. And I do enjoy the Force Link, even though I've had a very hard time with it. All right, guys. So now we have our tie silencers up here, our Revell and Hasbro version with our Force Link. So we are going to be able to get a comparison with lights and sounds on these two vehicles. I do believe that this does have lights available on this particular vehicle, so we will be able to compare that with the lights on this particular vehicle. So let's get started. So just as a reminder, just so you guys will know exactly what's featured on the Revell model. I know I have reviewed this already, and I did do a comparison between these two. So do please check my playlist if you want to see the comparison. But just to, for those of you who didn't get to see the lights and sounds on this vehicle, let's get a look. There's 3 different versions of the lights and sounds. So let's get started with number 1. So that's just your vehicle sounds there, your normal TIE Fighter sound there, and then that's your weapons sounds right there. And then I believe the third one is going to be a combination of both. So very, very cool. As you can see, lights, sounds available on this version of the TIE silencer. So let's get started with our TIE silencer here and see what sounds it has available for us on here. So very cool. It has that floating engine sound. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So if it was floating in one, you would have that sound effect. So very cool. And then so there's your lights. Unlike the A-wing, you get a comparison of lights. So very, very cool. So very, very cool, guys. Again, depending on what your price point is between these two, I think you're doing well with either one. And then, of course, with the Force Link feature, you just cannot miss. So very, very cool. It even, when you pull it away, it even does a winding down sound as if the engines are cutting off. So very, very cool additional feature on the TIE silencer with your Force Link, guys. I'm happy that I finally got to hear what the sounds are like on the vehicle. Now I can get the full experience of these vehicles from Hasbro. Unfortunately, I had the bad experience with the first Force Link that I got in my destroyer set, the BB-8 destroyer set, but I am happy I got this here today because it was absolutely cool to get those lights and sounds from this vehicle for the first time, at least for me. So very, very cool. Now, the one other thing I want to do here, guys, before we close this video out is I want to hear what this Kylo has to say.
The darkness. Guides, get my ship ready. Follow my lead. Again, the power of the darkness.
All right. All right, so there it is, guys, your comparison with the A-wing and TIE silencer between the Revell and Hasbro 3 1/4 model. Very cool. As I had mentioned, you're doing very well with either one, depending on what your price point is. Very impressive vehicles, guys, but I do want to know what your thoughts are. Are you more into the cost-friendly Revell models that give you plenty of lights and sounds? Or do you prefer the larger scale 3 1/4 size vehicles, which also give you a fair amount of lights and sounds, for the exception of the lights on the A-wing? I think that was a missed opportunity there, but still a very cool vehicle nonetheless. So guys, please let me know what your thoughts are. Put those comments down below. I want to thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And from the Father to the Son to the Obi-Wan Force Ghost, may the Force be with you always.